What's going on, Jab Talk Nation? It's your boy Ozil, and I got some thoughts regarding this Canelo Crawford fight. I was watching the replay, was watching the Canelo Scully fight. Not that it was worth the replay, because we all know that it wasn't worth the replay. But I watched a few rounds, and I gotta say, I changed my mind about the Canelo Crawford fight. Now, I know this is early. I don't think I've actually made an official prediction. I did say I've been talking to my boxing friends, and I did have Canelo winning that fight in September against Crawford. However, after watching some footage of Canelo, I think I'm changing my mind. Before I say 50-50, I feel like we may see an upset here. We may get history in September. Why am I picking Crawford to potentially beat Canelo? Is that for a few reasons now. After watching Canelo's fight, and even the past couple of fights, Canelo has been a very tactical, careful, cautious, one-punch fighter, one or two punches. He doesn't put combinations together, doesn't have a jab. He's lacking a lot of things that I feel that at this level, he still needs to be able to fight against elite fighters. Now, that's the key word, elite fighters. If he were to go up against the Mexican monster, David Benavidez, he would need those skill sets to be David Benavidez. Combinations, volume, activity, a little bit more boxing ability. Same thing with Dimitri Bivol. If he were to fight him again, he would not be able to pull off a performance like he has been with Scully, which really wasn't much of a performance, or his last fight with Berlanga. He wouldn't be able. That Canelo does not beat Bivol in the rematch in any division. Now, here we go, Crawford, moving up weight. He's looking pretty solid. I think he'll be able to be solid at 168. Now, there's questions, whether or not his power, which will carry and the size difference and all that. I just don't see it. I think what's going to happen is I would not be surprised if Crawford he's going to be motivated. He looks great in the ring. He's going to be well in shape. I mean, he's a great athlete. He goes in there and just says, hey, if I could just box this guy, I'll box him for 12 rounds. I'm able to get in there and mix it up with him, punch him a few times, throw some combinations, very much like Bivol did, in and out, in and out, in and out, push him back a little bit, and then get Canelo to earn his respect. And then in the later rounds, tire Canelo out and just cruise into a 12-round decision. That is the scenario that I'm picking. I don't see a Canelo, unless he surprises us and shows up something different. We haven't seen it. And I think it's because his opponents just haven't been at that level to take him to the next level. I think he's picked opponents strategically to say, well, I don't want to punch a lot. I'm going to be very strategic. I'm going to rely on my punching. I'm going to hit him on the shoulders. I'm going to do all the things that, at this part of my life is getting me to. But now he's going up against a Crawford. And I think, say what you say, I think he's, Canelo said yes to the fight because he couldn't turn down the paycheck. They gave him an offer that he couldn't refuse. But let's look at boxing abilities and where he's at compared to where, Crawford is at. Now, Crawford, granted, he didn't look amazing in his last fight. He took some punches, but he still pulled it off. And I do feel like he's going to have a chip on his shoulder going into this, knowing he's going to make history, knowing that he's going to have to really fight Canelo, but fight a smart fight. And if Crawford is a very smart boxer, high IQ, we all know that. And if he goes into it knowing that, hey, I just have to outbox this dude and just throw volume a little bit. I just have to punch him, land some shots, get in, get out, frustrate Canelo, and then just win that way. Because if I could just take shots and take, a couple of shots from Canelo, but fight him and then just move around, he's got that in the bag all day. Because Canelo is flat-footed. I mean, you saw the way his feet were it was cement. It was just walking. he didn't have that foot speed to really, that footwork to be able to really cut off the ring. Like he didn't want to do it. He just was like, I'm not going to work. I'm going to land a couple punches like he normally does, and then, you know, win the fight, which that's basically the strategy. Now, some may argue, well, you can't be saying that because of Scully and the guy was ready. Yes, but if you look at his past few fights, I just have not been convinced that Canelo is the same anymore. And that skilled Canelo at this point in his life, boxing life, could beat an elite fighter. That's why he's being very strategic in getting the bag. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a little bit of ego. I'm pretty sure he's confident, thinks he could beat Crawford. Who knows? We may see a Canelo that steps it up and fights. He's going to need to. He's going to have to dig in the bag and pull out his bag of tricks from back in the day and fight Crawford, because Crawford's a dog. Crawford is a champion. He's an elite fighter, and I think he's going to give Canelo a run for the money. No more weight class talk. I think Crawford is the dude who could potentially beat Canelo. Especially after this last performance. So that's my take. Again, I'm not saying that that's my official prediction, but after watching that video, after that footage of Canelo with Scully and watching him against Berlanga and then seeing Crawford, I do feel like Crawford has the skill set, experience, IQ to be able to beat this Canelo. That's my take. Take it for what it's worth. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Can Crawford pull it off? Do you see him winning the fight after this past performance by Canelo? Let me know. Curious to get your thoughts, y'all. Peace.